Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I want to share with you a very exciting attacking game from 1969 Petrosian Spassky World Chess Championship match. This is a game played in round 19, and already at this point Spassky was leading the match. He had 4 wins against Petrosian's 3. In this game the challenger had white pieces and he opened up with e4, to which the reigning world chess champion answered with Sicilian defense. Knight f3 d6, d4 c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3 a6. Neither variation is on the board, and white is going for the main line bishop g5, knight bd7, bishop c4, queen a5. Other alternatives are queen b6, e6, h6, g6 can be also seen, but in the game we see queen a5 hitting on g5, queen d2, protecting the bishop and preparing castling queenside, h6, bishop takes f6, knight takes f6, and white castled queenside. The fact that the pawn stands on h6 somewhat makes black's kingside vulnerable, and later we will see how Spassky will emphasize that fact. Meanwhile we see e6, black is hurrying with the development, bishop e7, f4, black castled kingside, bishop b3, rook e8. By putting the bishop on f8, black wants to strengthen his kingside, king b1, bishop f8, and g4. Yes, already everything is ready to launch an attack. White has put his king on a safe square, and there it goes. On move 15 we see a pawn sacrifice, the idea of which is to open up the g file for the heavy artillery. Knight takes g4. Petrosian is making a very risky decision, thus opening himself to a very dangerous attack. e5 is an alternative, looks more cautious approach, something which is in Petrosian style, but in the game we see knight takes g4, queen g2, knight f6, rook g1, bishop d7, f5, king h8. Petrosian is moving away his king from the dangerous g file and from this diagonal as well, because if a move like e takes f5, then white has queen g6 move, although this line is also playable and requires a careful analysis, you know. In here black can play knight d5, which is a very strong defensive resource. Black is blocking the diagonal, is threatening f takes g6. If bishop takes d5, then queen takes d5. If queen takes h6, then queen e5, and it looks like that still black is holding. In our game we see king h8. Here comes rook f1 and queen d8, which is already losing. Well, at this point it was better to play e takes f5. If knight takes f5, then bishop takes f5, and if rook takes f5, then black has this rook e5 move. Now rook takes f6 can be met with rook g5. This is actually a very interesting line. White can go for queen takes g5, but even in this case black is holding, and yes, looks like that black manages to repel white's attack. The engine gives white a slight advantage, but all in all this is of course good for black, that the line which we see in our game. In our game queen d8 was played, which was met with a very beautiful combination. Here Spassky played f takes e6, and after f takes e6 made a very powerful move. As we have reached the critical position, you can pause the video and try to find white's next move, but that's actually very complex and requires in-depth analysis. That move is e5. On move 21, white is making the second pawn sacrifice, and the whole idea is to free the e4 square for the knight, thus switching into the attack another very important piece. D takes e5, knight e4. The knight is untouchable because once black knight is leaving the f file, white can remove the defender and then can announce a checkmate. Or after knight e4, if a move like e takes d4, then of course even knight takes f6 is winning, but rook takes f6 is a more crushing continuation. Again, the threat is rook takes f8 followed by queen g7 checkmate. If queen e7, then rook takes h6, and again black king soon will get checkmated. Rook f1, queen h7 is a possible continuation. In our game to knight e4, Petrosian answered with knight h5, keeping an eye on g7, preventing rook takes f8. Queen g6, white queen is occupying a very important attacking square, and it takes d4. Well, at this point, knight f4 can allow black to prolong his resistance, but even in this case, there is no way to stop white's aggression. A very beautiful exchange sacrifice can follow, after which white knights are coming to punish black king. For example, now if bishop c6, then knight g5. In our game to queen g6, as I've already mentioned, black answered with e takes d4, but anyways, there comes this crushing knight g5 move, which actually forced a resignation. You should give up your queen, otherwise if you move like h takes g5, then queen takes h5, and then queen f7 followed by rook f3, and black king is getting checkmated. That's why after this beautiful knight g5 move, on move 24, Tigran Petrosian capitulated. This was a very convincing victory by the challenger, and I hope that you enjoyed this game greatly. In the end, a chess puzzle for you, an easy one where the task is to find the mating line for black. It's black to move, and I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. Feel free to check them out as well. I will see you in my next video. Take care.